Hello Projects Abroad, my name is Alicia Martin and I am sending this video to you today an application for a law and human rights internship with your organization. The reasons why I applied for this position are because I want to be part of an organization that is committed to making a sustainable and positive impact on communities around the world. And I believe that working with Projects Abroad will give me the opportunity to work at a grassroots level on projects that will have a positive impact on the human rights of individuals in countries such as Cambodia, South Africa, and Tanzania. The experience and knowledge I will gain will surely be invaluable to my long-term goal of becoming a human rights lawyer. I want to make a difference in the world, and I truly believe that advocating for human rights with Projects Abroad is one of the best ways to do so. So, just to try and summarize some of my strengths for you, my volunteer experience is one of my greatest strengths. It's something that I'm most proud of. I have hundreds of hours of volunteer experience. My stepmother is a volunteer coordinator and has worked for several nonprofit companies, so throughout high school and into my early 20s I had a lot of opportunity through her to gain some volunteering experience, and it's just something that I've always enjoyed doing. I really like talking to people. That is probably why this is one of the most difficult things that I've ever had to do, because I do much better with people in person, not so much with computers and talking to myself. So I also believe that a strength of mine is my varied work experience. So as summarized in my resume, I've worked as a bartender, as a waitress, as a personal assistant, as a clerical assistant, as a secretary, as front of house, as a assistant manager, and as a shift supervisor. Most recently I just gained a position in a law office as a legal assistant, so I think my varied work background has made me adaptable, and I like challenges, picking up new skills and learning how to survive in new workplaces is always challenging, and it's something that I have grown accustomed to. Also, as a Canadian who has lived and worked in different countries, I'm able to communicate effectively with global and diverse work environments and various cultures. So I think that that's an asset for an organization whose staff work predominantly in cultures other than their own. To summarize some of my weaknesses and to be completely vulnerable and not to try and use weaknesses that can somehow be misconstrued as positives, I will be honest with you and say that there are times when I can be a very poor finisher. I can usually start off projects with great enthusiasm and a can-do attitude, and for the most part that attitude can remain until the project or I start to lose steam, or the so-called light at the end of the tunnel seems to move further away, and at that point I usually have to draw on the energy and motivation of the others around me in order to get a final result, which is why I believe that I work much better in team environments than I ever had working on my own. Another weakness is sometimes I take on more work than I can actually handle. I think that I do this probably because initially I think I can manage the workload, or it's because I don't want to disappoint or let other people down. But usually what happens is about a 70-30 result, which basically means 70% of the time I manage the workload and 30% of the time I don't do nearly as well as I had wanted to or had hoped to. So that's something that I often try to be aware of, is the amount of work that I take on, always trying to make sure that what I'm doing is manageable so that I can provide the best product for everyone. And finally, why you should hire me, aside from my amazing self-interview skills, is I'm truly and very passionate about supporting and helping other people. I love to make other people happy. I think that I've been very blessed in my life, and I think that we're very blessed in Canada. And I think that we don't even realize how lucky we are until we see the types of situations other people have to live under, specifically with regard to human rights. I think that women, children, and certain cultures and communities are disrespected, and I think that if they come to us for help, that there should be people there who are willing to help. And it doesn't matter what the benefit to us is, it matters that we're helping other people who want to be helped. I think that I would also be great for the position because I have a lot of experience raising awareness for certain groups, specifically the Toronto Vegetarian Association. I volunteered for them on several occasions at events that they participated in throughout Toronto. So I just talked to people, talked to passers-by, talked to the public, and handed out literature and just basically advocated for the organization because, again, it's something I believe in, and when I'm passionate about something, it's very easy for me to talk to other people about my passion. As I mentioned before, I have experience living in foreign communities, and I really enjoy learning about new cultures and their way of life. I think the world is beautiful, and at the risk of sounding, like some sort of hippie, I just think that the world is great, and I don't think that enough of us see enough of it. And I just want to support the global community that is humankind. And I think that the only way to create change is to be part of the change that you want to see in the world. And lastly, I have a very strong long-term interest in law and human rights as a career path. I've spent the better part of the past 5 years improving and working on my high school grades in order to be able to apply to university. And I've been slowly trying to make my way towards a career in law, and with a focus on human rights because it's what I'm passionate about. Right now I'm working as a legal assistant in an office, and this is just part of my long path to getting what I ultimately want for myself, for my life, and that is to be a human rights lawyer. So I think that Projects Abroad is the next best step, and I would love to put my passion and my enthusiasm into your organization in order for us to help other people and in order for us to help each other. The only other information that I can think that I would need from you is I'm curious whether or not I need to apply for visas in order to work in some of these countries, if your organization helps us apply for those visas, or if we apply for those on our own, and if we do, which type of visa do we apply for, and what is the waiting time typically for that. I'm also curious if any of the fees are covered or reimbursed by our organization in order, to get ourselves to and from these countries to apply for the visas, and also whether or not room and board is provided, or if that's something we should save for ahead of time. And lastly, I'm also curious whether or not you insure your staff, or if we have to provide our own sort of travel insurance, and if you can recommend any travel insurance for us to apply for. So that is everything, and thank you very much for your time and for your consideration. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.